So how did you end up on the wrong side of the law?
After my studies, I worked in the Republic Tax Collection Agency, investigating revenue disputes.
You were a tax collector? Sounds pretty legitimate so far.
Drearily legitimate. But it did introduce me to a steady procession of people desperate for things to shake out in their favor, so to speak.
And you helped them out for a price.
Yes. But my fee was nothing compared to the price they paid at the hands of a corrupt system.
Whatever you say, Moran.
Talk later, hmm?
So how'd you become a music producer?
I was born on Riosa, in the Inner Rim.
I've heard of it. Lots of heavy industry.
Yeah, you couldn't escape the factories. So I used to make little tunes out of the noise from them in my head.
You started early then.
And never stopped. Enjoy the beats, Cal.
Let's see here.
Culinary innovator who just can't be stopped. But perhaps I can interest you in an iodized Gaunt roast? An old favorite of yours, I believe.
Old favorite?
Oh, so tender you'll want to buy it dinner.
Have I really been stranded here long enough to have an old favorite?
Well, you know, time flies when your disposition is as sunny as an foreign graveyard.
Everyone holding up okay, Monk?
Well, we're just fine now. The Raiders might have put a little spook in some of our clientele when they marched in here, but we're made of sterner stuff.
Good to hear. You doing all right?
Cal, my boy, I'll tell you the same thing I told those Raiders.
What's that?
Go ahead and shoot. But know this, you'll be blasting the best bartender on Kobo. Can't talk now. Pyloons needs me.
Hey, Cal. We've been wondering something.
Yeah, we've been wondering.
How's a guy like you end up in a place like this?
Engine trouble.
Don't we know it?
So come on, kid. What's next for you?
I've got a chance to find someplace safe. I plan to make good on it.
Well, I'm no good with advice, but, people who... Hell, I messed it up. I'm just trying to say, listen, the happiest folk live somewhere between what they want and what they got, you know?
Yeah, I hear you.
Really? Sounds to me like the old man's noodle is starting to fray.
Damn it, Dana, I was being... forget it.
How you doing?
See you when I see you.
You seem in a good mood.
I was thinking how this cantina reminds me of a celebratory dance on my home planet.
The cantina reminds you of people dancing?
My people don't dance. The dance is my people. All together. Without everyone's essence, there is nothing. Like this cantina. Someone ordering a drink from Monk, a joke from Gulu, a hunting tale from Mosi. All these acts combine into something greater than the performers themselves. I must be alone now.
But that Mogu you took out had quite the stench.
Ugh, quite.
Range with your nose, my mama always said. We once had a feral canifant terrorizing the ranch. Just a menace. Destroyed our barn. Twice. Canifants cover their own tracks, see? Crafty buggers. Practically impossible to find.
So how'd you track it?
We reversed our vaporators, pumped the air full of moisture. When it's humid, the smells get a lot, well, more pungent. It was long before we caught the scent.
Clever.
Ain't it? We all got 5 senses, Cal. I figure we might as well use them. Talk soon.
Z seems to be back on her feet.
Yeah, she's been through a lot. She's a tough one.
She sure is. Everyone from her time is ancient history, and she just keeps on going.
Think she'll find her place?
I'd say she already has. Not a lot of better places in this galaxy for the dispossessed than a cantina. Let's catch up later.
I know things are pretty tough right now, but think about the old days. Remember that scrape on Dathomir, Kashyyyk?
That was a close call, but now it's even more dangerous.
I wonder what it'll be like on the other side of all this, you know? Assuming we live through it. Watch yourself out there.
You think we might have been a little hard on her?
Hard? Nah, come on. In this galaxy, you're either the act dog or the spanner it's chewing.
I think Cadro used to say that. Hey, whatever happened to old Cadro?
We rigged her sublights, remember? You can hear the explosion from orbit. Looks like age is making you forgetful. Tell me it's making you soft, too.
I ain't soft.
Then quit scrapbooking and tell me how you're gonna get that corroded core out.
Cal, buddy. You ain't been here long, have you?
No, not long.
Oh, me? I've been on Kobo for most of my life. Came all alone when I was a little sprout. Age of 12, if you can believe it.
Really? All by yourself?
That's right. Heard there was fortune to be had, as long as you ain't a lazy bones. And I jolly well ain't. Hey, mate.
So, it looks like we aren't the only ones who found romance on Kobo.
What, Turgle and Two locked? I don't think that's in the stars.
Come now, Cal. That delightfully dark Maven has been casting wayward glances at you.
Marin? What was the look?
She's a hard one to read. You, however, couldn't be more obvious. So, what are you waiting for?
Good question. A lot going on right now.
Okay, don't get so caught up that you miss the small things. Because those are the things you'll remember.
Ah, Cal. We were just discussing what we should renovate next.
Just lots else to fix around here. Thanks to the raiders, you know.
Yes, of course. But surely we can find something a bit more inspiring for our next project than a water pump.
I'm sure you'll figure it out.
Zig's right, Cal. I spent most of my life ensnared by opulence. None of that seems very important now.
Let's chat later.
You returned in one piece.
You sound surprised.
You do have a knack for getting into trouble.
Yeah, but Bode has a knack for keeping me on the right side of blaster fire.
A useful quality in a friend. Be careful.
Oh, Cal, it's delightful to see you fully intact.
Holding up okay?
Fine, thanks. It's not the first time this frontier has been terrorized by marauders, you know. But once more, the noble Jedi Knights rise to the occasion.
Appreciate the thought, see, but we should watch the whole noble knight stuff.
Yes, of course.
Stay safe and keep an eye out for more raiders.
Oh, I will.
What's your academy like?
Oh, amazing. Every building is partially suspended with repulsors. The campus looks like it's floating over the ground. It's magical.
That sounds like a hard place to leave behind.
It was, but things were changing. Looking down, you used to see nothing but nature. The ground is covered in ferrocrete now. All part of an Imperial control zone. Some other time, okay?
Ah, lad! Cast your eyes over this beauteous tank.
Glad you came around to it.
Hey, didn't he make a fetching first impression? Have a mind to give it a third scrubbing. Cleaning the filter, you'd think someone tried to crack cram a mollusk to a sieve?
Oh, can't unhear that.
So, you wish to hear of a time on the grapnel with the crew of the dread Captain Wanyak Wed?
Let's hear it.
Aye. My tenure began with quite a bump. The moment the grapnel hit orbit, her klaxons began to sing. A barrack ship full of lawful types swam out to the stars and hailed us. What be the meaning of this? Growled our captain. We're simple fisher folk. Your transponder codes tell a different tale, came the reply. You be standing on stolen property, you do. Ah, you've rightful caught us, said the captain. Come on aboard, and I'll surrender what was stolen. But scarcely had the lubbers set boot on the deck of the grapnel, when wham! The captain's harpoon skewered them like a quailfish on a spit. No, you can't do that when you're running line, can you? Said the captain to me, grinning in his foulsome way. I'm sorry to say that I picked up the harpoon that black day. For years, I did not toss a fish back into the sea when I caught her. Well, that is until... blubbered you to death. I'll continue my tale soon, lad.
What is your home planet like?
Dathomir. Remote. Quiet. And the light is blood red.
Sounds exciting. I'd very much like to see it someday.
You are an odd one, aren't you?
Aye, so we return to my time on the grapnel. Against the protestations of my heart, I forsook the rod and line for the harpoon. For years, we trawled the outer rim, spearing every fish that happened across our path. Talented as I was, I speared more fish than the rest of the crew, put together. Fool as I was, I didn't have the wisdom to be ashamed. The dread Captain Wanyak Wet took notice. He showered me in brevets, gave me the best of catches, and scarcely a year after I left Sakavitar, I became his first mate. Shortly after my promotion, we were on our way to Manan to sell the carcass of a gooberfish. But, wham! Just as we dove out of hyperspace and the great ocean world streaked into view, so did she. The most glorious creature I'd ever beheld. A whale of marvelous proportion. But swimming through Manan's orbit like it was nothing but an easterly current back home. I was transfixed.
No kidding. How close did you get?
Funny you should ask. I didn't have long to set my eyes abulge before we crashed headlong into her. The grapnel bounced off her like chum off flotsam. We plummeted down to the ocean, sundering the grapnel on the sea floor, where a gang of pirate quarren were holed up. The filthy Zephyrs. We swam out to the ribbon hull and found ourselves surrounded by quarren, demanding all manner of things, including our bounty of fish. So, away we swam, Captain Wet, the crew, and myself. But, blind as we were at such depth, we shortly ran into a dead end, finding ourselves surrounded by quarren. Find me again, and I'll continue the tale.
We're off to a pretty good start here, buddy.
I've cleared another plot for you. Thank you for growing plants to their full potential. You clearly have a talent for this, Cal.
Thanks. Breeze taught me a little. How long you been gardening?
Since I was a child, I've always enjoyed the company of plants. In my adolescence, I joined a well-respected nursery. My work became a passion, and I soon stumbled upon an innovation.
What was it?
Hybridizing diverse genotypical specimens with novel macrocosmetic environments. A mouthful, yes. I mean that I developed a talent for growing new plants in new places.
Well, these specimens are lucky to have you here.
That's what they tell me.
Healy, what made you stop your research?
I lost my lab. Once the Empire occupied my planet, it seized my nursery, uprooting every flower, fern, and sapling.
That's horrible.
Worse, they repurposed my lab into a biochemical weapons facility. All my research, now used as a means for death. I refused to cooperate, escaped on an unlicensed shuttle, and here I am.
Oh, you're safe here.
I have been told that before. But when you say it, I believe it, Cal. Oh, hello.